What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Of course, it's late. It's transfer season, which can only mean one thing.
Breaking news.
And breaking news indeed. Not good breaking news. Well, it depends how you look at it. Yes, indeed. We have some breaking news this evening coming from the one, the only David Ornstein. Doesn't matter if it's morning or night. We're logging on to Ornhub this time again. Not necessarily for good reasons. Not sure where that analogy is going. We'll move swiftly on because David Ornstein is reporting from The Athletic in the last few minutes that the Manuel Ugarte deal from PSG to Manchester United is, as of right now, off, and United are looking at midfield alternatives. Let's get straight into what David Ornstein is reporting this evening. He has written, quote, Manchester United are switching the focus of their search to sign a new midfielder away from Manuel Ugarte and on to other candidates. United have been exploring a deal for Ugarte, but they do not intend to meet Paris Saint-Germain's asking price, which is around the €60 million, which is £51.4 million fee they paid to sign him from Sporting Lisbon in 2023. He continues by saying the club are quite far apart in their respective valuations of the Uruguay international, and as things stand, United are looking elsewhere. Only if PSG reduce their request is it possible that the Old Trafford side might return to the table, but so far, no progress has been made. He also says the view at United is that they are only willing to pay what they deem to be the correct fee for each transfer target, and negotiations will not be allowed to drag on until the end of the market. Consequently, discussions between the Premier League and League counterparts has cooled, but PSG are relaxed with vast interest over a move for the 23-year-old from alternative suitors. So as of right now, this deal is off. Now, I suppose there's a couple of different sort of opinions and theories on this one, isn't it? Obviously, when you look at a deal being off and a player that people had already got a bit attached to, this is why I never get attached to players until they're actually through the door. KG, don't start with the nickname, Ugarte, because stuff like this can happen. And I suppose a red flag involved in this deal should have been the recent talks about a loan move. Once the talks about a loan move started going out there, and it looked like maybe it was because of sort of pricing, and it looked like maybe it was because, again, Manchester United couldn't stretch the budget, couldn't find the wiggle room in FFP and the PSR situation to make this deal happen. But maybe it was just because they were looking at the money that PSG were asking for and going, well, we don't think that's value there. We don't think that's the right value. We don't think that's the appropriate value. And because of that, maybe let's have a look at a loan. And the moment they started doing that, maybe that should have been a bit of a red flag of, well, these guys are miles apart in terms of the fee then, and PSG want a certain amount, and Manchester United aren't willing to pay it. This one could collapse, and that's indeed looks like what has happened there. So that, I suppose, should have been a bit of a red flag. Now, I know that there's going to be probably complaints about this. Here we go, we're playing Manchester City at the weekend. The season kicks off in 11 days' time. We really need a midfielder. We really do need a midfielder. But the way that I look at it is, the last thing that Manchester United should be doing is what we have done in the past, which is, if this was the past and we had our heart set, we are going to get Manuel Ugarte, this would have dragged on. Maybe this would have dragged on to the end of the window, and maybe we wouldn't have ended up getting him anyway. We walked away from the Jared Branthwaite deal because Everton were asking too much, and Manchester United were right to do that. If Manchester United don't feel there is value in this deal and they have concerns about the fee, and they believe they can go out there and get alternatives for a better fee, then Manchester United should do that. Manchester United should be quicker, should be faster in the market. I think the thing that's happened with this one is I think Manchester United were playing a game of poker, and maybe this time they haven't won, or it hasn't gone the way that they thought it was going to go, because I think the assumption was certainly PSG, they were going to sign João Neves, which they now have. That's now been confirmed, and I think the thought would have been, right, once they've got that deal done at PSG, then they're going to have to sell Ugarte. We can possibly get that transfer deal down. That's what we can do. And that's not really happened. And I think it's probably no coincidence that today's the day that PSG announce the João Neves deal. I mean, it was just announced a few hours ago, wasn't it? It's no coincidence that just a few hours later, Manchester United are like, we're walking away from this Ugarte deal, because seemingly United were waiting for PSG to announce Neves and go, right, let's have the talk then. Now that Neves is through the door, how much do you actually want for him? Can we work out a deal? And they go, we want 60 million euros. And United like go, well, that's then off. Then okay, we'll walk away because we don't feel that's the right amount of money, or that's the money that we're kind of looking for. There's a gap in valuation there, so we'll move on. So it is frustrating in the sense that I think, you know, people had wanted Ugarte to come in and they'd got attached to Ugarte. We were all excited here a couple of weeks ago when Fabrizio Romano had reported that United had agreed personal terms with Ugarte. But I do think it is positive that United haven't waited an extra week or so, or haven't gone, let's go back and forth, let's do the United thing, let's put a bid in, you know, a low bid that we know is going to get accepted, but maybe we can barter our way up. No, time's of the essence. We've all said this. Have we not all said this? That time is of the essence. The signings still need to happen. I myself still have faith that we will sign a fullback, we will sign a centre-back, we will sign a midfielder. Maybe that midfielder now just isn't going to be Manuel Ugarte. Maybe it's going to be someone else. Now, as for who that other people, those alternatives are going to be, we don't know. We don't know, and we'll have to wait and see, you know, what those reports are about the alternatives that United are going for. But that's the point of having those people like Dan Ashworth, like Omar Barada, like Jason Wilcox, like Christopher Vavell, who's, you know, meant to be recruitment, looking at alternatives, looking at other options in that, right, this one's not working, we'll pivot to this one quickly. We're not going to waste time. We need to get work done. We're definitely not going to get messed around in terms of negotiations. We're not going to overpay for players. If you're not going to play ball with us, then we'll move on. And again, I know that the initial reaction to this is going to be, what a waste of time, and we need to get the signings, which we do, of course we do. But I do view it as a positive in the sense of, in the past, United would have dwelled on this. We would have dwelled on this. We wouldn't have had an alternative option. And actually, our alternative option would have been a panic option that we ended up overpaying for anyway. Whereas this one, hopefully, will be a little bit different. And look, maybe this is all part of a bigger game. And later on in the window, Manchester United do go back in for him. I don't know. As of right now, the deal is off, unless PSG back down. They say they've got, you know, alternative suitors. Let's see if they do. If they don't, maybe they will back down. But maybe by that point, Manchester United already have got their midfield target or midfield option. Because again, time is of the essence. Manchester United can't afford to be waiting around. You know, there is still work to do in the window, particularly if United can move on these players hopefully fairly soon. Wan-Bissaka's going. McTominay, there's been some rumblings he's more open to joining Fulham this evening. So if that's the case, then United, we're not going to wait around. You know, we're soon. I think United want to be in a situation being that actually the thing that takes the longest part of these deals is moving the players on. So the moment that a player does get moved on, in the case of Wan-Bissaka, the Mazraoui deal is done, we can do it quickly. The moment McTominay's done, moves on, if he does move on, we can do that deal quickly. The last thing we want is to sell the player and be like, oh, right, well, we're still going back and forth on the fee with this midfielder or whatever. They want to get it done quickly. So I do think there is positives in walking away. Obviously, you've got to, though, still get the player, you know, an alternative. And the alternatives has to be, you know, matching in, I suppose, quality and matching in profile too. Because, of course, when you do go to alternatives, you can get a rougher deal. It's not always a better deal. An example is, you know, with Frankie de Jong, we were going for him. Doesn't happen. We end up with Casemiro. We overspent, and we're still feeling the effects of that deal to this day. So these kind of things can go either way, clearly. But it's now going to be certainly very interesting to see who United do go for. So obviously this one's going to develop later on through the evening. So we'll be live tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Myself and Fleck. Yes, Jurgen Fleck will be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. So it'll be interesting to see what he says about this, how he's feeling about it. We'll get your thoughts. Of course, as I mentioned, I'm sure so much more will happen in the hours leading up to the morning as well. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. If you get any more info, we'll be here. But I'm out of here. Peace.